Well, hello everyone and happy Thursday. It is digital host A.J. Wuest welcoming you back to Before the Four, the live stream where I take you through some of 48's top news stories and then some before the 4 o'clock newscast. Wherever you're watching this Thursday afternoon, I hope you are doing well. Thank you so much for watching. Now, after days of heavy rain and flooding here in the Tennessee Valley, the rainfall looks to be finally clearing. But let's turn it over to 48 First Alert Chief Meteorologist Brad Travis to see how the weather might shape up for the rest of the week. Brad, how's it looking?
Well, no rain out there today. We are going to continue to watch colder air come in tonight. Some patchy black ice a possibility due to recent rainfall, but there's nothing falling out there right now. We don't have any rain to worry about as we continue on and talk about Saturday. Friday's going to be a great day. Temperatures in the 50s. It's Saturday. We're concerned with the threat for severe weather, and it will likely develop late in the afternoon. We are watching for the potential in the northwest corner of the state and northeastern Mississippi for some possible little supercells that may develop ahead of it. And I say may, and I really stress that. We're really uncertain whether or not that's going to happen, and we're hoping some of the model guidance will be able to help us out in that respect. So that's the only wild card we're looking at. We're highly confident in this line of thunderstorms. They're going to be pretty nasty. A lot of rain, very frequent lightning, and damaging wind gusts within this line. And there's also that spin-up tornado threat within the line we always have to deal with. Notice the time, though. That's 1 o'clock in the morning. Temperatures in the 60s still. The front plows through the area during the early morning hours. So again, this will be an overnight event. Storm threat stretches from here all the way down to the Gulf Coast. So if you're traveling, chances are you'll be dealing with these big storms as we continue on. Over the next 3 days, we're talking about Saturday, the 48 First Alert weather day, a windy day. We will have some showers and storms in the morning, but those will likely not be severe. And then Sunday, just leftover showers with the wind picking up and temperatures beginning to drop.
Well, that's certainly good to know. Thank you, Brad. Now, yesterday marked 15 years since the mass shooting on the campus of UAH that left 3 dead and several wounded. But one victim of that tragic shooting is a man who is turning tragedy and trauma into a medical test, with the goal in mind to help those impacted by trauma here in our community. 48's Liz Hurley with more.
Empowerment. That's what Dr. Jo Ng calls this blood test in a box, a trauma detector that UAH biology professor and iExpress Genes co-founder has been developing since the UAH mass shooting. Amy Bishop Anderson did not shoot Jo Ng 15 years ago, but months later, he and others felt like she had.
We've had come down with all different types of health concerns or health issues. And most of it is related to inflammatory issues.
Ng was diagnosed with PTSD, then osteoarthritis after witnessing his colleagues' murders. Others in his department were diagnosed with autoimmune disorders. And being a scientist,
I set out a journey, a quest to try to understand the mechanism behind this and in understanding how our body behaves biologically.
Ng put his head together with Army veteran John Schmidt, a former West Point chemistry professor, now business partner at iExpress Genes. John has a war story of his own.
It was suicidal and really struggling.
The retired lieutenant colonel has service-related PTSD, not due to a single event like Ng's, but multiple missions during 2 tours in Iraq. He flew Blackhawks with the 101st Airborne Division and saw death too many times up close.
It was pretty brutal all around.
These two found they had high inflammation levels in their blood. High inflammation levels, they say, are markers for PTSD that can lead to other conditions.
Connective tissue disorders, chronic pain disorders, even MS.
Schmidt says cancers and metabolic thyroid disease are also higher in those with PTSD.
You've heard people say, wouldn't it be great if we had a blood test for depression? Then this is sort of the dream. So that's why we're so interested. We're giving this test at our crisis unit, Wellstone Emergency Services.
Ng and Schmidt tested their trauma-induced inflammation theory on blood donated by local veterans and patients at Wellstone. Van Dyke says these blood test results start the conversation about trauma so treatment can begin. Ng and Schmidt test themselves to keep their stress biomarkers in check, especially since PTSD never really goes away.
When I go to a movie theater and I hear a gunshot, without even knowing, I'll just, jump 10 feet in the air.
A simple beneficial blood test born from bloodshed. A full circle moment for two scientists turning the tables on trauma. Empowerment.
Well, now in Decatur, just in, where we just learned that a student was detained following a Valentine's Day threat made at Austin Junior High School. Authorities say an 8th grade student involved in today's incident was detained. The student will be afforded due process and will face appropriate disciplinary action in accordance with the school policies. Now, school officials say the school will operate under a normal schedule on Friday and for the dance at Austin Junior High School. We'll be sure to update you as soon as we learn more. But now in Sheffield, where police need your help locating a missing 75-year-old man. That is who you see on screen. Authorities say Kane may be living with a condition that may impair his judgment and be in danger of bodily harm or death. He may be driving a 2010 red Toyota RAV4 with an Alabama license plate 9444 AB3. Now, if anyone has any information regarding Calvin Kane's whereabouts, contact the Sheffield Police Department or call 911. But now, as part of Black History Month, we're shining a light on one local organization that has made it its mission to get Black families into nature to see what all of our area has to offer. 48's Claudia Peppenhorst introduces us to Black Kids Adventures. Take a look.
Zenobia and George Stevens love all things that involve the great outdoors. The pair wanted to make sure they instill that same love in their sons. But as their outdoor adventures continued, one thing stuck out.
Where are the other Black families at?
Which is exactly how Black Kids Adventures was born. The organization officially got its start in June of 2020. Zenobia says she wanted to create a space where Black families felt comfortable exploring what the Tennessee Valley has to offer.
Our mission is to expose, educate, and empower Black families through nature and outdoor adventures. Our goal is to create a safe, welcoming, inclusive environment where families feel like they can learn, ask questions, and can just simply grow together.
Black Kids Adventures does it all: hiking, camping, caving, and so much more. But in honor of Black History Month, they hosted an urban hike exploring Black historical sites in our city. The hike, led by William Hampton with Huntsville Revisited, started at the site of what was once the Gladys Jane Motel on Posey Street, the first motel for Black people, and ended at the Buffalo Soldiers Memorial, honoring African American soldiers.
People had no clue of the things that they passed by or even maybe having a picnic in front of, the history that has taken place in that very spot.
The family says the community response to their organization has been overwhelming. They hosted almost 460 people in 2024, but they want to continue to grow, maybe even start chapters in different areas. George Stevens says it's important work, especially to help break stereotypes.
It's definitely necessary because just because of the stigma that's around about Black people, going outside, that, we don't do that or anything like that. I really wanted to break that stigma and let people think about that outside is for everyone.
They've got plenty more adventures planned. If you want to get in on the action, just head to their Facebook page, Black Kids Adventures, Inc. Claudia Peppenhorst, 48 on your side.
Well, now coming up after the break, we'll go through a few more stories in case you missed them, covering new bills in the state legislature, following up on a hotel fire that has left over 100 displaced, and a few fun things to do and check out in the North Alabama community. It's all ahead. I'll see you all in 1 minute. Well, hello and welcome back to Before the Four. Now, here in Huntsville, a fire at an extended stay motel Monday has left over 120 guests without a place to stay. 48's Noah Cowell with the latest.
Suburban Studio Extended Stay forced all of its guests to leave after the fire early Tuesday morning. Now, many of them paid for the whole week. They don't know when or if they'll get their money back, and now they have to look to other options that aren't nearly as affordable. The hotel's general manager, Nicole Love, says she's doing what she can to help out. She says she's maxed out the company credit card at $10,000 to put guests up in other hotels last night, but she can't afford a second night. Hotel guest Toshiba Anderson says they were led to believe they'd have 2 nights to make other plans.
Give us the opportunity to prepare. Don't give us a false sense of hope, letting us think that at least we have, a week, 2 days, and put us out the next morning.
Love says the Red Cross has partnered with First Adventist Church nearby to provide food and a place to stay for these displaced people tonight. And she is also working with Huntsville City Schools to help her younger guests, children who haven't been able to go to school the last 2 days.
The buses don't know where to pick them up at, so it's been a lot, and it's not just them not having housing, it's just the kids not having a stable home, the kids not being able to get to school, so it's been a lot on me trying to figure out everything for my guests and for my employees.
Love says she isn't sure when the hotel will be open again. Reporting in Huntsville, Noah Cowell, 48 News on your side.
And Noah will have more on this tragic situation coming up tonight. But now in Harvest, where several residents say their mail packages are just not coming in on time. State leaders say this is due to backup at the Postal Service sorting center in Birmingham. Yesterday, 48's Nick Ballinger spoke with Harvest residents on the ongoing situation. Take a listen.
Harvest residents John and Audrey aren't asking for much.
All I want is what everybody wants, is to get mail on a regular basis.
They haven't received any of their bills, tax documents, or bank statements in 10 days. John says spotty deliveries have been happening since October. He's been bringing these concerns to the post office since then, and the response?
Next day, 2 mail deliveries. We got one in the morning and one in the afternoon. Then, nothing again.
This USPS email shows multiple important pieces of mail waiting in Birmingham 9 days ago.
But what happened to the slogan, rain, snow, sleet, and hail doesn't stop the post office?
But it's not the weather halting some deliveries. Congressman Dale Strong posted this to X, saying backups at the Birmingham sorting center is the problem.
Ever since 2010, when the North Alabama Sorting Center closed, if I simply wanted to mail a letter from this mailbox to the one across the street, it would first have to take a 100-mile journey to Birmingham.
That's why Strong is urging the Postmaster General to reopen Huntsville Sorting Center. The letter reads in part, the Birmingham PNDF does not have the capacity to efficiently process and deliver mail within the state of Alabama. Those inefficiencies led John to skip Alabama sorting centers altogether. He makes the drive to Tennessee anytime he has important mail to send.
I understand the government political answer, and that's what we're getting, not only from the congressman's office, but also from the post office itself.
Whatever the answer is, he hopes it's fixed soon. He says his greatest worry is being late on his upcoming surgery bills.
I shouldn't have to rely on electronic anything. If you're still providing and saying you're going to provide me this service, you should provide it.
Nick Ballinger, 48 News, on your side.
But now let's talk about a few new bills proposed here in the state of Alabama. Senate Bill 132 is looking to make its way to Governor Ivey's desk. The bill would criminalize hemp and THC products such as Delta 8 that are normally legal. 48's Aria Pons recently spoke with the owners of one Alabama business on the new bill. Take a listen.
If passed, State Bill 132 would criminalize hemp products such as Delta 8 that are normally legal. The founder of Green Acres Organic Farms, Carmela Parasolidi, says if this bill is passed, then from the farms to the labs to the storefronts and on to the consumers, every part of the process would be devastated.
It would put us out of business. It would put a lot of other folks, farmers, out of business. And there's a lot of folks who rely on these products.
He says his products are made of hemp, which has a much lower amount of THC than marijuana. The bill aims to ban most forms of hemp such as Delta-8, Delta-9, any psychoactive cannabinoids. Parasalidi says that he, just like a lot of other business owners, put his entire life into starting his store up 6 years ago.
We sold our house, cashed in our 401k, put all our life savings into purchasing lab equipment and a space at SBI.
The bill states that synthetic substances like Delta-8 are untested and uncontrolled, and they could have a harmful impact on the health of Alabamians. But Parasalidi says he's licensed by the Alabama Department of Agriculture, and his products are tested by a DEA-approved lab. It's not just business owners who will be impacted if the bill passes. A lot of people use hemp products to alleviate medical issues. People like Heidi Duncan, who has stage 2 breast cancer.
I guess the alternative would be put on more drugs, and that's not what I want. I'm already pumped full of chemotherapy drugs that the last thing I want in me is drugs. I want a more natural approach to this, so I don't know what I would do.
It's important to note that this bill has no impact on medical marijuana. It's still unknown when that will roll out. If this bill is passed, it could go into effect as early as October 1st of this year. Reporting in Lauderdale County, Aria Pons, 48 on your side.
And lawmakers are also proposing a new bill that could soon give teachers paid parental leave. Under current Alabama law, teachers currently aren't required to receive paid leave for the birth of a child. Teachers currently must either use either their own sick time or PTO or go on an FMLA leave. Since the state doesn't require teachers to receive paid parental leave, however, teachers often do have enough paid sick days to completely cover their leave time. 48 Sarah Grace Kennedy recently spoke with Allison King with the Alabama Education Association. King says she was working in the district for 5 years when she went on maternity leave and still didn't have enough sick days to cover all the time off she needed. Take a listen to what she had to say about the new bill.
We think would be a great tool in the school districts for retention and recruitment of educators, and also to give back a little bit to our hardworking men and women in the classrooms that give so much to everyone else's children. This would allow them an opportunity to do something for their own children as well.
And now Glock switches. The devices are already illegal under federal law, but sponsors of Senate Bill 116 and Senate Bill 31 says this would allow a ban on the state level. Law enforcement agencies across Alabama are encouraging state lawmakers to outlaw Glock switches. Jen Horton at WBRC tells us more.
Legislation to ban conversion devices or Glock switches now headed to the Senate floor for a full vote.
Moved by Senator Albright and second by Senator Smitherman.
The bill passed out of the Senate Judiciary Committee with no opposition. An issue so important to Birmingham, the mayor made the trip to Montgomery to show support.
In 2024, we had 2 mass shootings, and machine gun conversion devices were used in both. Innocent lives were stolen from families. Birmingham would not have had the deadliest year of record if these conversion devices had not been used.
Right now, only federal law bans the deadly conversion devices. If this bill passes, it would allow officers across the state to arrest those with the devices and be prosecuted.
And ask that if passed, that the governor makes this into law without any delay.
If signed into law, it would make conversion device possession a Class C felony, with or without a pistol. Do you think a Class C felony goes far enough?
For possession of conversion devices, I think it is a great start. Look, everything we've heard today, this mimics federal law.
Right now, this bill has bipartisan support. Lawmakers don't expect any major opposition in moving it out of the upper chamber. If it clears the Senate, then the process starts all over again in the House. In Montgomery, Jen Horton, WBRC 6 News, on your side.
Well, now today on the good side, you may have heard of Little Free Libraries, but in Portland, Oregon, interactive art and community exchanges have been popping up along sidewalks for years. Local News Live's Ayo Elise shows us how the community is spreading joy and making it a little easier to find. Take a look.
Imagine a map that will guide you to some of the quirkiest places in Portland.
It's like I have a one-man carnival going on.
Robot Alley, just on the other side of Robot Valley, is one stop.
So it started as a light. Then it put my first version of this helmet out there. And then one day I was in Target buying soda water and I went by the kids aisle and I saw these stormtroopers and it was like, that is it. And then from there, it has just blossomed and evolved into this, what you see now.
A spot where passersby can be entertained by Platstorm, the man behind the magic.
It's gonna scan it.
Then there's the gentler sidewalk ducks from Coley Lehman.
We see kids with their parents on the way to get coffee on the weekends, and people will stop by with their stroller and the kids will pop out and reach into the basket of the stroller and trade.
What started 13 years ago as a way to give away leftover party favors has turned into a neighborhood staple.
Because of the Instagram accounts, there are people that are following us all over the country and sort of all over the world. And people now, when they come to Portland, visit these spots, and it's so special because they will stop and post about it, or they'll leave ducks with their name and location on the bottom.
Spots like this can be found on a map called PDX Sidewalk Joy. It was developed by Grant Brady of the Portland Free Little Art Gallery and Rachel Harms-Millant of the Dinorama Exchange.
I would say Sidewalk Joy are free installations in people's yards or curbside gardens that are just for adding whimsy to the community and the enjoyment of passersby. So they're all things like exchanges, think little free libraries with a twist.
Millant's own yard has not only the Dinorama Exchange, but also a mug exchange, a little library, and more. With over 100 listings and close to 800,000 views since 2023, the directory is having an impact beyond Portland.
It's spreading, so I kept hearing from people saying like, oh my gosh, I love what you're doing. I also want to do this in my town, or I just made this installation, and I was trying to keep track of them, but then I thought, you know what, let's launch a worldwide map. So this summer we launched the worldwide map, and now we've got places all over.
With listings as far as Australia and England, but ultimately, no matter how big the map gets, it starts small in spots like these.
It helps create connection and community, which feels especially important right now.
Super cool stuff. Now let's head into the stories you're just not going to want to miss coming up in our evening newscast. A sweet story on students making Valentine's Day cards for seniors. Get that story coming up. Another story you're just not going to want to miss, flooding here in North Alabama. Don't miss our team coverage coming up. And finally, the latest on Blue Origin and the layoffs soon coming to the aerospace company. And these are just a few of the stories you're just not going to want to miss coming up in our evening newscast. And it is about that time, I should say. Our 48 Facebook question of the day: what's some good advice you've received lately? And let's see what you all had to say. Jeffrey said, take it day by day. Very good advice. Emily, do the best you can. That's all you can do. That's right, Emily. That is all you can do. Wonderful. Magdalena said, don't let something you can't control consume you. Very, very true. Jeffrey, another comment. You got this. And to all of you watching at home, this is the message I want to send to you. No matter what it is you're going through, you got this 100%. Thank you all for commenting, and that is it for today's Before the Four. I want to thank you all for sticking around and spending a bit of your Thursday afternoon here. Hope you all have a great night, and as always, thank you so much for watching. You all have a great night.